Hey guys, welcome to the Knit Now Swatch Later podcast channel. My name is Courtney. This is my little corner of the internet where I talk about things that I am knitting, crocheting, and whatever other crafty nonsense I have been getting into lately. So if that sounds like something you would be into, go ahead and grab a cup of something and stick around. I don't have a whole lot to talk about today, project-wise. I do have one finished object, which is my, underneath all this stuff, which is my Perfect Knit t-shirt by Caitlin Bartold. I'm gonna do a separate little clip here of me trying it on, and then this little red stitch marker is where I was the last time I showed it on the podcast. So I finished, I think I already had maybe the neck and one sleeve done the last time I talked about it on the podcast, and then I finished the body and the other sleeve. So I really enjoyed knitting this. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I loved working with this yarn. I cast it on March 29th and I bound off May 31st, so it was on my needles for 63 days. And I really enjoyed the I-cord bind-offs for all of the edges. I didn't think I would. I still have to weave in my ends. Well, actually they're woven in. I just had to cut them. But I was looking at the pattern and I saw all of the I-cord bind-offs, and I did not think that I would enjoy doing these at all. But they went by so fast, and I think they look really nice. So yeah, that is my finished object. And then next up in works in progress, I have my May socks. This is the first sock of the pair. This White Rabbit Progress Keeper is where I was the last time I showed it on the podcast. So I ended up just knitting a plain vanilla sock, and I did a rounded toe. And my plan is to go back and try and find a way to like stitch in the Jack pattern, the Jack Skellington pattern. So we will see how that goes. But I have not finished the pair, sadly. So we are in June now and I still have not finished my May socks, but that's okay. I knew that this pair of socks was going to be more difficult. That's why I started them a month early. So I'm just switching over my Progress Keeper for next time. So there it is, all ready to go for next time. And let's see, I cast these on May 1st, so they have been on the needles for 35 days. And yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to stitch in the Jack Skellington chart after the fact, because color work was not working for that. So yeah, I have to figure that out. I really don't want to, but the deadline for that is coming up really quick, so I need to figure it out and get a move on. So hopefully those will be done and gifted by the next episode of the podcast. So that is pretty much all that I have for knitting. I've only worked on finishing up my tee and working on my socks, but I do have some plans. I really want to at least finish the body of my Salty Days sweater that I have shown on the podcast quite a few times. I have not touched it in the last several weeks, so I'm not going to bother bringing it out. But I think my goal is going to be to finish the body of that and then kind of see how I feel about it. If I want to finish it and not be able to wear it until the fall, or if I want to just finish the body and do the sleeves closer to when we're going to get back to colder weather. So I'll have to think about that, but I do plan on bringing that out now that my tee is done. And then I also have a couple of new cast-ons that I am planning. I have not cast them on yet. I'm being very good. So I am wanting to start the Love Letter top by Veronica Lindberg, who's also the designer for the Salty Days sweater that I'm really enjoying. And I also did something crazy. I swatched. For the sweater, or for the tank top. Here it is. It's a little baby swatch. But my gauge was perfect. So I'm glad that I did, but also I'm a little hesitant because we all know that gauge swatches lie. So I'm almost like hesitant to cast this on because I tried once. I went on a limb and I held 2 strands of a cotton yarn together and I just went for it, and I got exactly the gauge using the needles that were recommended in the pattern, which I think was a size 2 because I tied 2 knots in the tail of the swatch, and I read something about how you're supposed to do that, but I also left the needle on my desk so I wouldn't forget. So I have swatched and I really love how it turned out. So I'm super excited to cast that on once I figure out what I'm doing with my Salty Days sweater. And then the next thing on my list is the Road Tripper Tee by Ozetta, which I already have yarn pulled out for that as well. I have 3 skeins of this Dream in Color yarn on the Cosette base, which is their DK weight, 70% superwash merino wool, 20% cashmere, 10% nylon. This is their Luxe line, and the color is brilliant, and it is just so pretty. I think that it will be perfect. It's so soft. I think it'll be a really nice Road Tripper Tee by Ozetta. So I'm also really excited about casting this on. I want to cast on all the things, but I have to finish the things first or I get overwhelmed by how many things I have on the needles. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Just me? Okay. Anyway. And then I have kind of a transition into acquisitions and life stuff, but also a future cast on. So we went to the Festival of Books in Pittsburgh last weekend, and we had a bunch of fun there. And I only came home with 2 new books, so I was really proud of myself. And I got one of them signed by the author, so that was exciting as well. But I found a yarn store called Wild Child Stitches, and we popped in because I want to knit the Summerland cardigan by Megan Nodecker of Pip and Pin, and I already bought the pattern because it went on sale, so I wanted to try and find some yarn for that as well, and I ended up getting this Juniper Moon Farm Summer Solstice, which is luxurious linen and cotton tweed. 48% linen, 24% cotton, 24% viscose, and 4% polyester. And the color is Dewberry. And I just thought this is such a pretty color. And I was really excited that I was able to find exactly how much I needed for the sweater. So I did go in with a plan. What I was not planning was to find this adorable display of yarn. They have pictures. So the owner told me that the yarn is dyed based on pictures of cats that are available for adoption. This is Olivia, and she was a very popular color, and I just thought it was so beautiful and such a unique concept. I wasn't gonna buy just another random skein of sock yarn, but I did because it was just such a cute concept, and I really wanted to share it with you guys. So yeah, this is Olivia, and she is going to be knit into a pair of socks. That actually sounds really bad when you say it like that, but she's going to be knit into a pair of socks. I'm excited about that. And let's see, we also went to a board game store called Games Unlimited while we were out that way, and we picked up a couple of board games, a couple of like, what are they called, like the escape room in a box type games. We really enjoy those, so we picked up a few. different variations of those that we haven't tried yet. I also got my mother-in-law and her husband went on a trip to Ireland and they brought me back yarn, which was very nice of them. I got this Aran Woolen Mills in the color Pink Heather. It's 100% wool, and I guess this yarn is really famous over there, that this is like what they're known for. So that was pretty exciting. I'm gonna have to come up with something to make with this. It seems like it's a well, it's an Aran weight yarn, obviously, and I only have 2 skeins of it, so I'm not sure what I should make with it because I don't really wear hats or gloves. So I'm trying to think. I think I did the math and it was like 350 yards or so of that. So I need to come up with something to knit. Maybe a shawl of some sort would be fun. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. So moving into books, I have finished, since the last episode of the podcast, I finished Those Girls by Chevy Stevens on May 20th, Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire by Jim Cymbala on May 25th, Untangle Your Emotions by Jenny Allen on May 27th, and Baby Teeth by Zoe Stage on June 5th, which is today. And then I am currently reading Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. And all of those books were really good, and Remarkably Bright Creatures is good so far. So most of these books, actually 3 of those books I listened to as audiobooks. So that's why there's so many, and that's why I'm still reading Remarkably Bright Creatures, because I think I mentioned it last time. I am reading a physical copy of that, so it's just taking a little bit longer, where like with audiobooks I listen to them in the car while I'm doing housework, stuff like that. So sometimes at work, if I can get away with it for a little bit. I wanted to mention the shop that I have opened. I have reopened White Rose Fiber Company over on Etsy. Thank you so much to those of you who have already made purchases. I am so incredibly grateful. I am still working on clearing out old inventory. The 30% off sale will be over by the time this goes up, but hopefully by the time this goes up, I also will have a couple of new products in the shop, including these fun White Rose Fiber Company tins. They are barber cord sets. So I have in here, all I have right now is the hot pink color, and in each tin is 1 60-inch long barber cord and 2 30-inch long barber cords, which is the perfect size, I think, for putting your sleeves on hold and putting the body of your garment on hold. And then you don't have a bunch of waste yarn, and you don't have to worry about losing stitches, getting them onto those fiddly little stitch holder thingies. I really like these. These are going to be going in the shop soon. And then I also have a few of the drawstring teacup bags going up as well. So just keep an eye out for those in the near future. Thank you so much again to those of you who have made a purchase or considered making a purchase or liked or shared anything getting traction going on my shop again. It was closed for a really long time, so I really appreciate all of the traffic that it has been getting already. And I think with that, that's everything that I have to catch you guys up on. Sorry it wasn't a whole lot of knitting this time, but just more life stuff, and hopefully the knitting will come with the next episode. So I hope you guys are all doing well, and until next time, happy knitting. Bye.